me Varshni presenting my CS50's Introduction to Programming with Python's final project Personal Finance Tracker. Here you can find my GitHub and EDX usernames. Let's directly move on to the project, where in project.py I have implemented the functionalities of Personal Finance Tracker starting from the main function, where I have included all the operations like adding a transaction, viewing it and generating it, and finally exiting whenever the operation is over. So in adding a transaction, I basically take three different inputs in order to include it in my file. One is my date, the category and the amount that I'm going to spend, and adding it to the file named as transaction.json. Then secondly, viewing my transaction. So once I've loaded all my transaction in the file, it can be viewed using the viewing function. It can be retrieved from the file and thrown as the output to the user. Then the last function that I'm going to use is generating the report depending upon the transaction that is being made by the user in the past and stored in the transaction file, which is being extracted in order to create a summary of the transaction that is being made by the user. Consolidating all these, where we'll be performing an exit operation once when all the operation is being made with the finance tracker. And the test project, I have also presented some of the test cases in order to check my project.py whether my finance tracker works properly. Then transaction notation in order to store the transaction requirement or txt includes only pytest that is to be installed to check the value. Here you can have the sample of inputs testing my file with pytest test project.py, where it passes all the three different functions, and yeah, we are successful in the testing. Then moving on to actual running of the program, where I have added a transaction by taking the date, category and the amount, and I have added few of the transaction. Then viewed my transaction here, what are the different transaction by retrieving it from the file. Then generating the report depending upon the transaction that I've been made and displaying that I have a balance of 2000. Now exiting with a goodbye message once when all my operation is done. So here in transaction.json we can view all the entries that we have been made via the terminal. And this is all about the personal finance tracker, which has a main function, three different functions: test project to test the function, and also requirements.txt. Thank you.